I feel much better about this one. It took me just a second. So when you go and read in here a little bit better, the problem is I've told it we're going to be getting a string, string, and string. So formed is not a string, it's a number. And so now, if I save that, wait for it. Okay, no errors. So this is a new thing. So it's wanting me to define what the band properties are going to look like. Typically in the past, I've just said, let it figure it out. So we're being more explicit here and say, hey, this is going to be a component with type band props. And that's not I could call this band blah. It's a name I'm giving it. I just need to match those. So I'm saying this is what it's going to look like. It's going to be a band blah, and so this is what's coming in. And so maybe this is something in the newer versions that I haven't messed around with yet. But anyway, we've got that solved. We're now printing out each of these bands. But again, has this solved our problem? If we're printing out 50 bands, has this solved our problem? So now we have an individual band, and we are calling that band tag, and we're spreading out from the band names array the information for each individual band. But if I had 50 bands, I'd have to do 50 statements here. And just like you always say in programming, there's got to be an easier way. Luckily, there is an easier way for us. And so we are currently a little more generic. So we're saying go get this property. So as we hit it and we spread out that information into those components, those properties for this band tag, then it goes and fills in those properties, sets that equal to this const one band, and then goes and pulls the information from that one band info. And so it's doing it a little more generically, one line at a time, so we can reuse this band tag over and over again, and the only thing that changes is this number. And that might indicate to you, hey, we want to use a for loop, which is the kind of thing, and we probably could figure out a way to do that. But there's an even easier way, because this is something that happens so frequently in the world of programming. Then luckily for us, JavaScript has this map function that allows us to go in and map. And so I can do this. I can say, instead of these lines individually, let me come down here. I can put in a line that says, what I want to do is go out to the band names array, JSON object, or JSON objects, and I want to map those. And the way I want to map those is I want to go out and get one band and lambda function. The result of that is going to be a band where I'm going to go spread out one band from that object, and then I need to have on here a closing tag. So this may feel complicated, but this is also super nice. So we're going out, let me see, I need to have a closing brace, and then my closing tag goes right here. Is that right? That should be right, because that's the closing parenthesis for that, and that's the closing brace. Okay, so Control Save, and it goes and prints out, wow, it prints out twice the results, and that's because I'm printing it once already here. So let me replace these statements. Then it still goes and prints all three of them. And so what this is doing is it goes out to the band names JSON, and it says, what I want to do is go map one band at a time. And I'm going to do that by going out to the band component and grabbing the information for that one band. Now, I have to remind myself, this is in my notes here, and I do this kind of stuff all the time. Hopefully you do the same type of thing. I'm saying, what's one band? How does it know if I call this blah and blah, does that still work? And it does. So this one band has nothing to do with one band. I just named it so that I could call this single band. This is a thing I'm creating here and saying that's equal to a single band. This is just the number that's being assigned to it. So we're going and looking at the band, and maybe that's better. I could say band num and band num, and that would make more sense. So we're going to go map out all these different band numbers one at a time. So if I save that, that should still work. And then if I go put in a different band, now I have dogged on a little bit in my other video, the trios. Nirvana was snubbed. And here's what I've decided about Nirvana, having listened to them recently. I don't like their popular songs as much. So mainly Smells Like Teen Spirit. I think it just overplayed. And I'm getting to be an old man. I just think it's too loud. I just don't like Smells Like Teen Spirit. But then you get into some of their other songs, and they're actually really good. Lake of Fire is one of my favorites from their Unplugged album. Plateau. And so they have a bunch of good songs. So I'm going to add them into the list here. So we're going to add one more object here. Name is equal to Nirvana. Sorry for snubbing you, boys. Members, so we have Kurt Cobain, obviously. We have Dave Grohl, obviously, who's Mr. Foo Fighters, right? Grohl, is that how you say it? And then the person we always forget. And this should all be in one string, not in multiple strings. Who's the other guy? This is super helpful, huh? Shoot. Okay, let me look it up. Nirvana. Let's see, Nirvana. Christ. Come on. All right, so that name there, how about that? Oh, and I don't want to close that window. We want to watch this happen. So, all right, so we shouldn't have closed our string. Oh, crap. What year did they form? So we want to have our formed. Back to Nirvana. This is high quality content here. You can see why I like to redo these videos. Let's see, they were formed 1987. Okay, so 87. All right, so 1987. All right, so now when we save, if we've set everything up correctly, then we should see these changes reflected on the website. So Control S, and sure enough, Nirvana shows up. We didn't change anything other than adding another entry in the JSON file. Everything's set up to work in a flexible way. And so, just recapping, we had this little app function that we changed, and we started adding other functions that we can then call in here. We created one called band list. And band list was the list of bands, but in order to get the list of bands, we created another component that was just a single band, and we could have used a function here. We would have had to have done it differently with the properties and everything, but I wanted to show the different way to do it there. And we could have done this in a React component. And so we are building a single band, and we made it generic, saying, hey, it's going to have some properties, and the properties are going to be string, or name, members, and formed. All right, so we set up those properties, and then we're saying, just as we come through, go look at the properties for this particular object as we're kind of looping through, so to speak. Get the name, print that out, get the members, print that out, get the band, print that out. And so we're printing out one band at a time. We use this spread operator to go pull out those three different elements, as we're going through the bands, and then we're using this map to go kind of loop through all the elements in the JSON object. All right, Spencer out.